In 1959, Fidel Castro came to power in Cuba. The U.S. government did not trust him and began formulating a plan to rid Cuba of Castro's rule. In March of 1960, President Dwight D. Eisenhower approved a plan to train Cuban exiles in guerrilla warfare so they could invade their homeland. The success of this plan rested entirely on whether or not the Cuban citizens would join the revolt. The ultimate goal was to overthrow Castro and to establish a non-communist government in Cuba that was friendly to the U.S. Training camps were set up in Guatemala, and by November, a small army of about 1,400 Cuban exiles had been trained for the invasion. President John F. Kennedy was inaugurated in February of 1961, and shortly after, he officially authorized the plan but wanted to disguise U.S. support. The Bay of Pigs was chosen because it was an area that would bring little resistance from the Cuban forces and help disguise U.S. involvement. The plan was to have 2 airstrikes, a 1,400-man land invasion on the Bay of Pigs with paratroopers landing beforehand to help repel Cuban forces, and a small American force landing on the East Coast to create a distraction. In April of 1961, during the first airstrike, 8 bombers and B-26 planes, painted to look like Cuban Air Force planes, were sent in. Many missed their targets and Castro's Air Force was left almost completely intact. Due to the failure of the first strike, John F. Kennedy canceled the second, but American involvement was already evident. When the army landed on the Bay of Pigs, they fell under heavy fire. Cuban forces captured many invaders, sank 2 ships, and destroyed half the air support. Castro's army controlled the land and the skies. In an effort to salvage the invasion, JFK sent in 6 fighter jets, which showed up an hour late and were shot down. Almost 1,200 men surrendered, 100 were killed, and some escaped by sea. Captured soldiers were held hostage for 20 months while the U.S. tried to negotiate with Castro. Donations were taken from pharmaceutical and baby food companies, and Castro finally agreed to release the prisoners in exchange for $53 million worth of medicine and baby food. Tension remained between the U.S. and Cuba.